It's audible to all of you. Good morning, everyone. Okay, yeah, I got it. Fine, dear. So, the no doubt, no. So, ये बोर्ड का ग्रीन वाला कर दीजिए ये वही रखिएगा ग्रीन जो कल था प्लीज. Okay. So, agriculture reforms. So, you are knowing that this in September 2020, government implemented these agriculture reforms, three agriculture reforms. One is the farmers produce trade and commerce. Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Act. Two thousand 20. Second, it was the farmers empowerment and protection agreement of price here, dear. These are basically three reforms announced by the central government. So, yesterday, just you write all of you three reforms, agriculture reforms, and then you are knowing that there was protest from the farmer side for these reforms. So these reforms we can well understand because already now we can understand it because we already discussed about the related issues what are prevailing in the Indian economy. So that is the reason that we started discussing it from your APMC Act. Then we connected with the Model APMC Act 2003. Then we connected with the ENAM, that is a NAM, National Agriculture Market. And then we are coming to these reforms what the government of India tried to implement it. Okay, but finally, due to the pressure from the stakeholders, finally government taken it back. So the first one, the three reform, the first one say the farmers produce trade and commerce. The farmers produce trade and commerce. Promotion and Facilitation Act 2020. You understand this. Farmers produce when you are saying it simply means you are talking about the agriculture products, agriculture commodities that produced by the farmers. So you have seen that there is some issue prevailing with APMC. Some issues prevailing with APMC, and what are the issues that under APMC Act, the intra-state trade, even intra-state trade is not allowed. So this act you can well understand if you go to the first part amendment. So intra-state trade, it was not allowed. It's not allowed basically. It is not allowed under the existing APMC Act in some states because already we have just discussed with 18 states and 3 UTs already modified it. So if the modification or not modification, we can say amendment, these states amended there. So these states may allow, but other states restricting it. So if you take the before this reform steps, so basically under the APMC Act, the free movement of agriculture commodities was not allowed. Okay. So slowly government wants, because ultimate government's objective is to create a unified the agriculture produce market. That is the reason कि नाम they introduced National Agriculture Market. So they want a unified agriculture market in all over the country. Okay, and it will help you to for the two farmers to get the higher prices, unity prices, also the uniformity in the prices of agriculture commodities in all over the country. So they allowed under these reforms that farmers are free to sell in any mandi of the country, even within the states, and if they want to sell in other states, they can sell it. So this part because movement part comes also under the central government, so central government amended it. So basically they are allowing the farmers for without any restriction, they can go for intra-state trade and interstate trade, means within the states and between the states. Okay, so now under this amendment, the farmers are allowed. Okay, but it's taken it back. But you remember, I've just already informed it's taken it back. But the motive was this. And why this reform is the requirement for the farmers? Because you are knowing that you can connect from the APMC Act. APMC Act restricted the farmers to sell in a particular mandis, and they can only sell in a particular mandis if they have the license to sell in that particular mandis. And license you are getting because when you are in the jurisdiction of that particular mandi. Okay, so that restriction it was there. And second, you are knowing that problem is the farmers can under APMC, farmers is allowed to sell their produce only through the commission agent. But here under these reforms, this provision just removed. Okay, so these are the changes. So first point you write this one. First, the farmers produce trade. What are the measures? What are the governments? Because you remember, this becomes one of the issues in Indian economy. and this prevailed for a longer time in the country. They hesitated on that, and finally it's forced to the government to taking it back. So you should aware about these reforms and what are the issues behind it. Then only if suppose they are asking what the suggestion, what should be solutions you prefer, you want, then you can better understand. When you're understanding the better, then you can better suggestion you can give it. Okay. And government, maybe they taken it back, but after few years, maybe they are again coming back in the different form. Okay, if you can see the all the three reforms, then only one thing you're getting it, why in starting, in the first when after these reforms, only one demand it was from the farmer side, and they demanded कि make MSP as the legal provisions or part of amendment. Make MSP as the part of amendment. Okay, that was the only the initial demand, but later on the demand keeps increasing. So if some problem arise, it is a very normal practice. If some problem arised, suppose, and if you're not taking care of at the initial stage, then this impact you can see it's going to work just like the spillover effect. Means something happened, but its impact is visible in the other part of the. So they started these things. Okay, right. First point. First point you write. It provides. I'm just telling you. Suppose this act is there, but finally we can write it's taken back. Right. It provides an ecosystem. This act I am just referring here. This act provides an ecosystem where the farmers and traders enjoy the freedom of choice relating to sale and purchase of farmers produce, clear, right? The reform grants freedom the reform grants freedom to farmers and buyers to transact in agricultural commodities even outside notified APMC mandis, ensuring competitive alternative trading channels to promote efficient transparent and barrier free interstate and intrastate trade. Interstate and intrastate trade. Okay, so please get this point to all of you. Okay, what we are getting from this. So simply under these reforms, if you can only get this concept, the importance of these reforms, if you are knowing the issue behind it. So existing APMC Act, okay, of the state governments, basically it is restricting. Again I am telling you, dear, Practically so many states are given this freedom. They are allowed to sell in different mandis. Okay, but yes, this provision was there. Some states taking it very serious, I mean very restricted way. Some states taking it very liberal way. But the government wanted, legally we have to change all the provisions. Then only we are going to make the unified markets. So they allowed the free movement of farm agriculture produce, and they also allowed the traders and the farmers कि you can transact freely. So no restriction. Even under these reforms, they allowed the farmers to sell their produce not only in the notified APMCs but also to private mandis. Notified APMCs, it means that you're talking about APMC mandis. So you are knowing that APMC mandis are run by the government, okay, run by the government, and it is run by the Agriculture Produce Market Committee under the APMC Act of that particular state. So they are allowed, if you want to sell in this mandi, but you can also sell to the private mandis. So it means under these reforms, you allowed the private investors to set up their own mandis. That is the simple meaning. That is, you allowed the private investors to set up their own mandis. So you can buy directly from the farmers. Okay, this is the one other point you can get it from this. So as far as freedom is concerned, so this point is not bad for the farmers. Freedom is concerned, no problems with the farmers. The farmer has to get freedom to sell their produce because they are producing. So they will sell to those persons they are offering the higher price. If someone is offering higher price, so rules and regulations should not act as impediments and should not restrict the farmers for selling these products. So it is there. So this point of view, this reform first point is relatively good one. Second point you write. Second point you can write. Right. What is that? The farmers' empowerment and protection. The farmers' empowerment and protection. Okay, Agreement of Price Assurance and Farm Services Act 2020. So now, second point, second reforms we are talking about. Okay, so just you write, all of you. Right. It provides a national framework on contract farming. It provides a national framework on contract farming that protects and empowers farmers, in their engagement with agri-business firms, processors, wholesalers, exporters, or large retailers, Again, I'm repeating, it provides a national framework on contract farming that protects and empowers farmers in their engagement with agribusiness firms, processors, wholesalers, exporters. Okay. or large retailers for farm services and sale of future farming produce and sale of future farming produce at a at a at a mutually agreed price at a mutually agreed price in a fair and transparent in a fair and transparent manner just read once, all of you. You're getting this? So what we are trying to say you in the second part, you have seen that basically we have discussed with you when I was discussing the MSP. So you have seen in MSP that government announcing 22 crops and with the other formula, the one more crops, that is the sugarcane one. So at least a price which is fixed by the government, okay, and fixing the price at the time of sowing means ensuring the farmers, even in the case of bumper productions, you are going to get this price, okay, and this surety giving incentive to farmers to go for production, and maybe in the time of bumper production at least they are able to get the minimum price. So this safety and security the farmers wanted from the government. This is the one of the issue, and not one of the issue, it was the major issue in this. Other issues I am going to discuss it. It was the major issue. See, you understand why MSP? Why MSP? Because it becomes one of the demand, and why the farmers, they're not trusting the government. Okay, what the government is trying to promise. There's two reasons. There are two reasons basically. One reason it was कि government if ensuring that कि I will continue the MSP. So just farmers demanded कि if you are continuing with the MSP, then why not you are accepting as a, why not you are making it as a part of amendment? Just they wanted it make it the legal provisions, but governments keep saying that it is a conventional approach. Okay, I discussed already conventional approach. So it will continue like that, same things like that. But farmers were insisted, no, you make it. Things dear, why I'm telling you? Because in this provision, it was clearly written that the farmers can go for contract farming, and with whom they can go for contract farming. They can go for the bulk purchasers, they can go for the corporate sector, they can go to the, they can do for with the exporters, large retailers. Yes, farmers can go for the contract farming with them. You understand? And you have to decide mutually agreed price. Just like the normal, you are a student, just understand, just like being the student. The determination of price, if you are living on two different parties, that is, one is the bulk purchaser, corporate sector, you can say bulk purchasers, okay, say corporate sector, and other parties is farmer. Do you think if farmers getting the more bargaining power or bargaining power to bargain with this corporate sector, these large farmers, sorry, large buyers, really they can bargain this? You have seen in the last class why we need some information. You have seen in the last class I discussed also 85% of farmers, 85% of farmers, approximately sometimes 86, if you take the round percentage you are adding, then it's around 86% of farmers are marginal and small farmers. So imagine that this percentage of farmers, which is 85% around the farmers, or 86% you can say, these farmers really has bargaining power with this corporate sector, because individually they are coming, then they can't bargain with this, and they will never try to bring them together. That is one of the good policies, most of the times you can see in the economy. But as far as policy is concerned, government is trying to solve this issue, because farmers associations organizations, farmers FPO, farmers producers organizations, okay, they are trying to promote it. Farmers producers organization, if you are making these organizations, then only they can get the collective bargaining power to bargain with the corporate sector. Then only this mechanism and this policy is going to get you result. If these farmers are the marginal farmers and they are not able to come together, then who can bargain with this corporate sector? Who can bargain with them? So you understand the policy and actual implementation. So if you're coming, you take the previous result. So there was intention of the policy, never it was wrong in Indian economy. But the problem was implementations. So if you're leaving everything to the the corporate sector, yes, you can decide, like exporters, large retailers, bulk purchasers, processors. So if they are going to decide, so they have the bargaining power. They can easily bargain with the farmers, and they will always offer the low price. Remember, these all entities are profit maximizer. They are coming here for doing business. They are not coming for the welfare, dear. That the basic and fact we have to understand. Be clear of our mind. Okay, they are basically the profit maximizer. So they'll always prefer to pay less price so that they can make the more profit. So that is the reason. If suppose you are just closing all the ways farmers' intention, why it was you are going to remove this MSP provision. Simple reason, because if you see from last few years, if government wants to remove some of the policies, they are creating some environment. They are creating some environment in, say, in the some documents, some economy, and if they are getting the public are not responding in adversely, then easily they are going to implement this. This is the very basic things you can observe in the economy. Similarly, in the last few years, you can just see after implementation of this 2020, before that, then already government started making a concept in the economy कि MSP is not good. MSP, only the large farmers are getting the benefits. Marginal and small farmers are not getting the benefits, because 85% farmers are not getting. Large farmers, they are only getting the benefits. Okay, and so basically they started creating some of the issues. Even only limited farmers, they're knowing about the MSP. But problem is that if marginal farmers and so many farmers are not getting benefit, does not mean you should close it. The solution is not just stop it. But since we can't claim to the government never announced I am going to just stop this MSP. Never announced. Till the date, never announced the government I am going to remove. But it was the perception to the farmers. It was the perception to the farmers that there is a possibility in future government is going to stop the MSP provisions or MSP policy. Why? Because already government created some negative environment against the MSP in the you can say in the economy, and that is a documented things. I'm not saying without document. That is a documented things. 2020 before, if you see that the economy survey, yes, they discussed it. MSP is not providing the benefits to the masses of the farmers, a large section of the farmers. So when you start saying this, then definitely the MSP benefits you don't want to give it for the large farmers because they're already earning enough. So issue remain with the marginal small farmers. And if you are removing this, suppose a perception they are going to realize what the farmers thinking, then farmers will have the only one options to sell to the private parties only, the corporate sector only. So that is the reason when government, why the farmers, other stakeholders, they started relating this. It is not very simple. Sometimes it looks very simple, but the motive behind this policy may be something different. Maybe something different. Because clearly government motive is privatized. Clearly motive of the government is that businesses should be under the private sectors or private entities should participate. Government is going to concentrate only the governance. If it is so, and if government is going to remove their intervention from the MSP as a policy, then the farmers will have the only one options to sell to only the corporate sector and the private sector. It is going to happen, the farmers are again going to be exploited. You are giving the chances, you are giving the options. You can make FPO and just bargain with the farmers and go for the contract farming. And in contract farming, you can earn very higher prices. But problem is that bargaining. So if suppose government promised it, suppose what was the demand of farmers? Just make the legal provision of MSP. If government is going through, I don't think so. I don't think so. That's government. Was getting any problems or any protest, the huge protest government are going to face. But if suppose in the last hour, till your last hour, government not made at the part of legal provisions and finally they taken it back. So that things you are getting it. If you at least you make the legal provisions, okay, so farmers are getting some relief from their perceptions ki what may be future, the government may do that. That was the perception of farmers. Okay, so why? Because if you are continuing with the MSP, then farmers is at least has some the bargain power. Yes, MSP provisions will act as a or we acting as a, suppose you are implemented and MSP remain there. So this MSP will act or acts as a bargain power. Because the farmers is standing and farmers having the two different options. One, they can sell their produce to the government through MSP and once to private sector. If private sector is not giving the remunerative price or higher price, then farmers can easily sell to the government through MSP. So when the farmers are going to bargain with the private sector, so farmers can bargain more than MSP because that MSP is already government announced. Okay, so if you imagine, you just consider this, MSP, they wanted to act as a backbone or as the bargaining power with the corporate sector. Because this is the announcement of the government. If you give more than this, then I will give you, otherwise I will give to the government. Simple in one line. And they are bound to accept and bound to offer you at the higher prices. That was the main demand of the farmers. Okay, and that is the one of the reason that why the some experts and some person they are from this background, they support it. And what I can suggest you in finally, it is these are the some drawbacks in this policy, and that is the reason that government is taking it back. We can't write there was election was going on in the UP and Punjab, so in the pressure government is taking it back. No, writing this is not ethical for us. So simply citing this some of the adverse impact, we can say maybe the government realized these are the drawbacks in these reforms. So government is taking it back. Maybe in the future they are coming again to for doing agriculture reforms with all the removing after all the shortcomings. Simply you say and just stop. Clear to all? So yes, you can connect it. Now third point you write here. Third point, first you write, then I will discuss it. It removed commodities like cereals. Now we are talking about third one, the Essential Commodities Amendment Act 2020. Okay, write it under this, right? It removed commodities like cereals, pulses, oil seeds, edible oils, onion. So remember, now cereals it includes everything, rice, wheat, everything there. pulses, oil seeds, edible oil, onion, and potatoes. From the list of essential commodities. From the list of essential commodities. Right. The reform ends the era of frequent imposition of stock holding limits, except under extraordinary circumstances. So please get all of you this point. See, there is a Essential Commodities Act. Okay, Essential Commodities Act. Okay, and Essential Commodities Act giving a limit for essential commodities, how much quantity dealer, retailers, wholesalers, they can keep stock at their own disposal. Okay, so if you are visiting any shops or any retailers, any dealers, you can see one board is there, one notice board, or you can see the information board is there where they are writing rice stock is this much, wheat stock is this much, pulses stock is this much, oil stock is this much. So if they keep the essential commodities, then have to maintain the stock list. That is known as a stock list. Okay, they have to maintain. You have to maintain at the dealer level. So definitely the quantity is more, wholesaler quantity is more, retailers the quantity is less, but it's a fixed by the government. So government entity, concerned departments, food department, they are fixing the food grains or essential commodities quantity limit. You can't hold it more than this. Okay, see why government is doing that. Suppose it's essential commodities, dear. You please try to understand the normal mechanism what you are dealing with the day-to-day life. You can see that when in the market, particularly for essential commodities, no one can stay without these products. You can see these are the very basic products. Cereals means rice, wheat, other things related to that. Okay, second is pulses is there, edible oil is there, your onion is there, potatoes are there. You understand these are the very basic things. No one can stay without this. Okay, even suppose someone is depending their life on the fruits and other things, but at least once they are taking this one. Okay, so you understand this. This is the criteria. So if any moment or any time or any particular month or seasons, if you observe that if there is a shortage in supply, then definitely price is going to be much higher. Take one example. Suppose potatoes, now supply is more, so you are getting around 16 rupees per kg, maybe 17 rupees per kg, or 15 to 17 you are getting depending on the size. But let us consider after 2 months, can you imagine the price of potato? The price of potato may go to the 40 rupees, 50 rupees like this, 40, 50 rupees like this. So what you are getting, the 40 rupees, 50 rupees, it's going up, then this higher price, reason is what? The people purchased it, they kept in their stock, okay, in the cold storage other, okay, and they are keep supplying in the market. Even if the 40 rupees, it's there. So what you are getting it? If at any moment, if supply and demand disturbance is there, if you create the shortage of supply even in the initial stage, the price will pick up. and people has to pay this price because it's essential commodities. You go and see why Government of India implemented the Essential Commodities Act. Then you will read the provisions and you read the objective, then you will get it. Okay, really, objective was good. It is in the behalf of the normal individuals and whole economy. Okay, so if you think about the overall economy, you can relate it, but first of all, the individuals, the normal publics. Okay, so why stock is necessary? Because if you can't hold more than this, so definitely all extra amount, it is always supplied in the market, and when there is always supplied in the market, so comfortable supply will be maintained or are maintained, and this comfortable supply of this product is always going to balance the price of these commodities in the market, and you are not allowing to increase price beyond a certain level. But if you are going to remove these limits, what the government has done it in this third Essential Commodities Amendment Act 2020, where the government removed the stock limit. Stock limit means any person can hold any amount of essential commodities. Any person can hold any amount of essential commodities. So basically these are the provisions. These are the provision basically they made it. You can hold any amount of essential commodities. If this amendment is there, you are giving the license. In other words, I am telling you, are giving the license to corporate sector. You acquire any amount of essential commodities. You know, that's when this act was passed, and immediately the corporate sector started building up the huge area storage facilities. And in that area, you know, they can easily hold for 1 season, 2 seasons or particular whole states. So if they start holding in the large scale, okay, so they can easily control the market price. They will just keep for 15 days, 1 month short in supply in the market, the price will pick up. And since it's essential commodities, so finally the whole economy is going to affect. But yes, it is one of the perception what the farmers, normal individuals was thinking, that the removal of this essential commodities from the essential commodities list is not good for the country. Okay, but yes, if suppose institutional mechanism is really very strong, they are balancing it, they are controlling it, then to some extent you can compensate. But the problem is that really a question mark on that, to what extent institutional mechanism is going to solve this issue. So basically you are giving the free hand to the private and corporate sectors, okay, to do what you want to do it. Because one side you are going to going to decide the price mutually agreed with the farmers, where most of the farmers, around 85% of farmers, they don't have the bargaining power to bargain with the government. How they can bargain? So price determination or decision of the price is going purely by the corporate sector. And here the price at which you are going to sell, easily you can manipulate. So there may be both the way there is exploitation in the country. So some points what the other people they thinks, maybe these some of the points due to that the government has just taken it back, that we can say only these points. Okay, but when if government continued with these reforms, so argument we have to give in the different way. Okay, always remember dear, always remember, if government is taking it back, then we can give some points. Yes, they may work in the adverse way. So keeping in mind the government is finally taking it back. Okay, but if already implemented, then our interpretation should be something different. Then you can say like this, yes, corporate sector when it's coming, so they can hold any large amount. So economies of scale, and it is true also that. You see, if you are not giving incentive to private investors, then private investors will not come in this agriculture business. Not come. They need some reforms, they need incentives to come and invest in agriculture sector. And remember, when they are investing, so definitely they are the profit maker. They always think about the profit. And if essential commodities price is going up, so just you think about the normal persons, normal citizens. So they will come for the profit maximization, say that they will do that what they want to make the profits. Okay, just you go and see the departmental store, you please go and just observe one thing. If you're buying something from the mall or any other big departmental stores, then maida you are knowing now, just go and check their price. You are going to get around 40 rupees, 45 rupees or 50 rupees half kg, just double of 1 kg. But if you buy from the local grocery, still it is around 30 rupees you are getting per kg. Around 30 means maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 rupees more than this, but around you're getting. So how much you're paying? More than you're paying for a half kg, but half of the price you can get the 1 kg. So you understand this difference. They can easily manipulate. That is the one of the perception, few perception it is there related to that, and protest it was observed. But what the government is saying, okay, so you have to prepare these things, because what I personally believe, कि maybe after winning the elections in next year, next year, government will try to implement it again, because privatizations, it's now objective, and they're going to bring all market mechanism. They're going to bring all the sectors based on the market mechanism. Maybe the recent trade, because already they learned it from the recent incidents, what's happened, the result outcomes. So maybe till elections, the government may wait. But what will happen after that? Who knows about it? So as a student for this exam, you have to prepare both. Adverse impact, I discussed with you, dear. Positive impacts you have to know, because if tomorrow they are going to again bring it with some haircut, or we can say some of the cosmetic change, they are bringing again this reform, so you have to defend it. Clear? So please write in that way. Benefits of the farm reforms, please write, or benefits of the agriculture reforms. Both you have to prepare. Being the students, you have to know, and as per your requirement, you write accordingly. But if government is really implemented, and then you please write in a very supportive way, because after all, you are going to be the implementing officer. Civil servants are the implementing officers, and the government is the decision maker. So they will take the legislation, will take the decisions, and you have to implement in the state or in the country. So you can't say it's wrong. You have to say, yes, sir, and I have to implement. So accordingly, you have to convince the others, and accordingly, you have to interpret these things. That you have to learn it from the very starting point. Before going for selections, before that, you start your preparation accordingly. Okay, please write, all of you. Benefits of the farm reforms, right, or agriculture reforms, right. The farmers in India have suffered from various restrictions in marketing their produce, full stop, right. There were restrictions for farmers in selling, there are, you just write it, there are restrictions for farmers in selling agri produce outside the notified APMC market, See dear, if you see this point, you can interpret in very positive direction also. Because suppose I am only authorized to sell in the government mandis or APMCs, maybe price is lower. But in other mandis, okay, even in the private mandis or private bulk purchaser, they are offering higher price to me. But I am not allowed to sell in that mandis, being the farmer. I have to sell in this mandi to the traders. Now traders is going to sell in that mandis, and they are making the profits. If I am going to allow to sell directly in that mandis, So it's good for the farmers also. So you take in this way also. Okay. You can take in this way also, right? Continued, yeah. Outside the notified APMC market, right? The farmers, the farmers are also restricted to sell the produce. The farmers are also restricted to sell the produce only to registered licensee of the state governments. Only to registered licenses of the state governments. Okay, full stop, right? Barriers existed in free flow of agriculture produce between various states between various states between various states okay, full stop, right? APMC regulations have indeed resulted APMC regulations have indeed resulted in a number of inefficiencies and consequent loss to the farmers okay, farmers, right? The presence of multiple intermediaries between the farmers and the final consumers has led to low realizations by farmers. Okay, full stop, right? A large range of taxes and cess and cess levied by APMCs cuts the farmers price realization okay, full stop, right? Issues related to manual weighing machine, WAIGHING, issues related to manual weighing machine, single window systems and lack of modern grading and lack of modern grading and sorting process create long delays and measurement errors that tend to be biased against the farmers. Farmers means who are the seller, they are coming to sell in the mandi, against the farmers. Okay, full stop, right? Long queues of farmers long queues of farmers waiting in the hot sun, and it is not the normal phenomena, but it's the general one. If you are coming to sell your product in the mandis, so suppose due to the delay in the maize weighing and the distributor and selling, you're in the long queue basically, because you are not allowed to sell in the other mandis. You have to sell in this mandi only. So some mandis getting this issue of overcrowded and long queue, and in the summer, you are going to lose some of the, the articles, some of the vegetables, some of the products, and that is going to create the wastage for the, it's going to create the loss for the farmers, and also it's the wastage of the agriculture produce. That's government is trying to say. So why I'm telling you these points, you should remember, as per your requirement, you keep discussing that. Okay, so you have to prepare, because why I'm telling always, I just request all the students, please prepare from both the sides, and you equipped yourself with all the information, positive also, adverse also. As per your requirement, you just complete your questions. Clear? So just write delays and measurement errors that tend to be biased against the farmers. Full stop. Right? Long queues of farmers waiting in the hot sun or summer to sell their produce with limited ability to take with limited ability to take their produce elsewhere. Else means you can't go to other part to take their produce, with limited ability to take their produce elsewhere, even if the price even if the price even if the price even if the price is higher in an other mandis is a characteristic feature of APMC mandis The full stop. Just you try to get it. If you see the APMC mandis, so normal characteristics is what? The farmers are coming with their produce. They are facing the huge queue, particularly in the summer. It's a normal, I'm saying. It's not the always, and all the mandis. But most of the mandis, they are facing this problem. Other things is what? The farmers has limited ability to send this product or go with this product to sell in the other mandis where they are getting the higher prices. Okay, maybe suppose you are coming in this mandi, but you have to come in this mandi because per the rules, but there is limitations to go in other mandis. Maybe the prices are higher in the other mandis, but you can't realize it as the existing rules of APMCs. So these are the points basically highlighted by the government, and simply they are saying that these reforms are going to solve these issues, and just on the basis of that you can say that yes, it is going to give the benefits to the farmers, farm community, and the overall country. Simple in one line, and it then. Okay, please write few lines to all. Right. The delays result in large post harvest. This is the data. Okay, these are the data which is government has quoted it. So everything what I am discussing here, other than the adverse part is the general things. Even you are having the common sense about the economy, so that general things you can discuss it. That is visible with anyone. Everyone not getting the dare to say, that is a different issue, but it's visible. But the positive part, that what I am discussing right now, these all are discussed and all are documented. So that is the reason I am telling you, you can write for that. So what you're going to say, it is also the documented, so that you can use it, this data, this information, just write it. Okay. The delays result in large post-harvest lost or losses, you can say losses, to the tune of, that is a rough idea of the government departments, losses to the tune of 4 to 6% in cereals and pulses. 4 to 6% in cereals and pulses. How much you're producing? 4 to 6% is going to be wastage only for these reasons. And you can use it because it's published in the government documents, economy survey. So you can write it, use it. It's not the private data. Okay. So if government saying something, you can use this informations for writing your, the answer. Clear. Comma, you write, put it after, put the comma, then you write 7 to 12% in vegetables, 7 to 12% in vegetables, and 6 to 18% in fruits, 6 to 18% fruits, 6 to 18% in fruits. Okay, these are there, what the government is saying, that full stop, right? Change the para. Recognizing the above limitations, of existing market regulations, comma, various commodities, not commodity, just write various committees. Yeah, various committees. The government is saying that. See, always they are deciding on the basis of some committees. Various committees recommended several reforms in the marketing of agricultural commodities. Okay, full stop, right? Based on requirement of the economy, full stop, right? Based on requirements of the economy and recommendations by different committees, Government of India reformed agriculture sector, full stop, and it. Clear? Just go through once, starting from this reason and till the today, what is the condition. So wholly step by step you go through this. This is the way to prepare particularly this type of topic. It's a sectoral issues, you have to go in this way. Then you can analyze, you can better explain why government is bringing it, what are the impact is going to happen in the country. Okay, so you are able to relate this. Check, all of you. Please check. Check there. Let me check any questions you sent it or not. So I think this part is clear to all of you. Yeah, only one question I got it from Biswajit. Sir, after introduction of ENAM, what need to farmer produce and reform act? Biswajit. No, Biswajit, you take in the way कि suppose you take the initially APMC acts. So APMC acts, each and every state having their own APMC act. Some states like the Bihar just amended APMC, they removed these things. So states may differ, and I'm not saying that all states exactly having the same provisions, but if you generalized it, then overall you take the provisions which exist in the country. Okay, so you have taken these provisions and you are saying that yes, APMC I discussed what are the issues involved in the APMC's acts. So government tried to reform it so that the farmers should get the benefit. This is the overall, the objective. So government tried to remove through the different ways. One of the way earlier they implemented is the model APMC. So even central government made the model APMC, requested all the states, yes, you implement this, reform it, your APMC according to that. But so many states are reluctant. They are not able to, they are not willing to do that. So many reasons may be. Okay. So finally, the government has come out with the ENAM. So ENAM is the Pan India program and it is a trading, I mean electronic trading portal. So in that portal, basically they requested, I mean it's all the states, yes, you can participate in ENAM. So if any state they are willing to participate on ENAM platform or e-portal platform, then you have to do some reforms. You have to do some reforms. And if you're doing some reforms, then only you are entitled to get registered or connect with this ENAM platform. So they asked to reform it some APMC. So government tried to create a unified agriculture market in India, and for that main impediments is the APMC Act. So government wants this should be removed and let us create a unified agriculture market in the country. So that they are doing this step by step. Clear. So ENAM, they only 18 states was there. 3 UTs just implemented, they connected. But what's about other farmers? If all states are not coming, then the concept of one market for one India, that concept, agriculture market, that's concept you are not going to realize it. So finally in 2020, government come out because ENAM was implemented 2016. So in 2020, they reform it, they implement it. If it is going to continue, then all the problems of APMC, what they are there, they're going to be solved. But who actually getting benefits? For whom you are is doing that? That is the question mark, and that is the matter of debate. So that is the reason I just discuss both the sides. But as per your requirement, you can write this. Clear? Fine, dear. Any other doubts? Any other questions? So I'm only small things you do first, then I'm going to this part and which is related to this. So I'm doing first this, then yeah. Subhasri, you send me one question. So in real life, it is seen that once there is a price hike of a certain commodity, example given price of fast food, due to several other factors like stock holding or poor harvest, remains high even after the conditions get better. Is it inflation or it is the reflection of poor management of economy? Sumasiri, your question really, I agree. I agree what you're trying to say. But you understand it, the price you're talking about those goods, they are market determined price. And market determined price means demand and supply. Okay, even due to other factors is going to change. And due to that, initially you have increased the price of that product. And even at higher price, you are getting customers. And customers are willing to come and they are paying that price. Once you're getting this idea that customers are willing to pay this price, maybe initially whatever reasons you cited for increase in price, suppose I just fix my commodity price, say 200 rupees, I increase the price of 220, and when you're coming in the next, then I can request, okay, ma'am, see, you are knowing due to inflations the product prices have increased, so I am bound to increase this price. Maybe that time you are agreed because you're knowing, but never you are asking ki bhaiya, why you are not cutting the, why not you decreasing the price, why you are charging this price only, because now in the market you are getting at the low price. Have you asked any time the seller? You ask yourself, have you asked? Have you just refused to buy this product? No, I'm not going to buy. Still you are charging the higher price. Cut down this price. If 20-50 customers, they are going to cut down, they are not just returning from the shops, just you see tomorrow they are going to cut down. But once you are paying and you are ready to pay, why this producer is going to cut down the price, dear? It's a market determined. If in the market they are getting the price, they will continue the price. Simple logic. Clear? Yes, in some sectors, the government sectors like this, so they may cut down the price, but again today government is just doing just like they're doing the business, just like the corporate sector. So it's a very trend. Once it's going upward, so there keeps increase. And one more thing there, if you just get these things, and I think, yeah, one point you please get it about the inflation. So what you are the question you asked, I think get your concept. Remember what I discussed with you when I given the concept of just inflation. I know some other part I will do with you. Say price is 100. You please understand, Subhasri. Yeah. And not you, but all of you. Just get it. Suppose 100 is the price level. Price level increased to 110. Because I discussed with that day, inflation is the process of increase in price level. Remember? So once it's stopped at here, we can't say inflation. Inflation means keeps increasing it. So first time inflation is now 10%. But price level already increased. Already still, suppose inflation is not there. Inflation is not. Or inflation is just decline. Next stage from here to here, the inflation is going to be around say 5%. Suppose inflation is after that, price level is increasing at the 5%. But who told you the price is going to fall? If still inflation is 5%. Here earlier price level increased to 10% at the rate of 10%. But after reaching here, after this point, still price level keeps increasing at the 5%. So price of the products keeps increasing. Yes, sometimes vegetables and these seasonal products that in the season they are going to fall. If they want to some extent, they can cut down the price. But since you are willing to pay, they are not decreasing it. So one more thing you get it from here. Price level already increased. Price is not decreasing. Price level is not decreasing. But if price level is going to decrease, then it is known as the deflation. But deflation is not happening now. The rate of inflation is declining from 10% to 5%. It means the price level keeps increasing. Okay, what are you talking about? I think you're talking about deflation. Price kam ho ja raha hai. So maybe overall inflation, you can just take like this, and other concept what I explained you, just get together. I think combine it, you can get your answer. Clear, Subhasri? Why government not legally allow MSP, Lavanya? See, that is so many people ask this question to the government. Why not you are allowing? But government is saying it is a conventional approach, so I will continue as a conventional. Okay, simple government answer is this. If you ask me as the personally, then yes, I can tell you. See, suppose you take your example. If your intention is to continue in the long term, some of the policies, what is the wrong to promise it? What is the wrong to make it in the legal provisions? But if some problem it is with you, either you don't want to implement in the future or you don't want to continue in the future, then only it may be one of the possibility you don't want to make it the legal provisions. Because convention, it is a convention, I can stop anytime. I can stop anytime. But the moment you are going to make the part of amendment, then if you want to change, then you have to amend in the parliament. And now there is a problem. So you understand these things. Okay. But again, I am telling you, so straight and forward, don't write. Okay. Take very mid path for writing this. Sir, agriculture is a state matter. How central government introduce farm law or a Biswajit, basically it's yes, it's agriculture is the state matter, but as far as transportation interstate is concerned, it is the part of your central government. Okay. Next, Vidisa, sir, yesterday a news came about Maharashtra farmer that after selling 120 kg of onion and they earned a profit of 2 rupees. Then, sir, what about MSP and other governments? Dear, onion is not covered under the MSP. This is the one of the worst part because it's come under the commercial crops. Okay, so these are not the part of this. I'm also getting in some news. Okay, there's 2 rupees they're getting. Just imagine that this is government implemented the scheme, top tomato, onion, potatoes scheme, where the government is encouraging the faster movement of onion, faster movement tomatoes in the different part of the country. So aim is, objective is, but again question is that implementation here. Again question is that implementations. Okay, and effective implementation, infrastructure development. Still, they are getting 2 rupees, but you understand at what price we are buying in the different states. Where the production is not there. Maharashtra is the central point where the onion production is there. Onion production is there. So 2 rupees if Maharashtra is selling it, so you can imagine that. Okay, and why they are selling, they can't hold it because there are so many reasons, storage problems, other reasons. But after 1 month, then again the price will start pick up. That time farmers will not get benefits because they don't have the reserves, the stocks. So yes, we can't do anything. MSP is not given to the onion. Is that clear, sir? Thank you, Subhas. Okay, thank you, dear. Now come to the next topic, agricultural market. So this part is clear. Now next is the agricultural marketing and farm friendly reforms index. So agricultural marketing and farm friendly Okay. So agricultural marketing and farm friendly reforms index. In 2016, if you take October, basically in October 2016, the Niti Aayog published or implemented or constituted this index. Yeah, they constituted this index, which is known as Agricultural Marketing and Farm Friendly Reforms Index. What are these basically? Now you are knowing that the central government is very keen to implement the agriculture reforms in all the states. And one more concept is there, government is trying to create the competitive cooperative federalism. Competitive cooperative federalism means they are encouraging all the states to behave like just create a competitive environment in the country, and every state try to do better in compared to other states. So basically they want states to perform. So cooperative federalism is good, but it should be the competitive cooperative federalism. So they started ranking the all states in different dimensions. And they started ranking, so okay, next time if you are not scoring good rank, so it will give you incentive to change in your states, reform in your states, and come to the higher rank, and then you can, I mean, it's sort of incentive it's giving to the states. You reform in your states, change in your states, okay, rules and regulation, other behaviors, like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Under this, they started ranking the cities, okay, like Indore is the number one in the, okay, so other states started competing with them. They also started implementing the this scheme, okay. So why? Because if there is a competition, then only you excel better in any field. Similarly, the Niti Aayog started constituting a index, and that is known as a agricultural marketing and farm friendly reforms. And so they are started, they made an index based on, index value is based on the reforms you implemented in your states. If you implemented the reforms, then index will tell you कि really your reforms implemented is the one of the highest or one of the better or efficient in the all over, I mean the other states or not. You perform better on this reforms ground, then yes, your rank will be higher. Otherwise, you just keeps going to down, going to lower one. So Niti Aayog basically is made this index. So sometimes they can ask you in the PT what are the index, because who knows about what they are going to ask. So according to your requirement, you can do that. Clear here? But you have to know. Just write Agricultural Marketing and Farm Friendly Reforms index was constituted by the Niti Aayog in October 2016. In October 2016, they are not continuing basically now, because but they will publish it. Okay, they already published, but due to the huge, I mean several years, it was the pandemic one, and reforms already it's happened and issues created, again government is taken it back. So maybe the next time again they will come with the index, I mean the value of different, ranking the different states, right? The low levels of productivity, growth and incomes in the farm sector, causing agrarian distress, and without undertaking radical reforms, it is impossible to transform agriculture. Full stop, right? However, state governments have been lax, in implementing much needed reforms, to modernize agriculture and reforms. Okay, full stop, right? The areas identified for immediate reforms are okay, first point, right? Agricultural market reforms, that's I am talking about till now. First point, agricultural market reforms. Okay. Second, you write land lease reforms. What is that? Land lease reforms. Land lease reforms. Land lease reforms. And third one you write reforms related to forestry on private land. Yeah, reforms related to forestry on private land. Forestry on private land. Okay, reforms related to forestry on private land. Just see there. These are the three areas. They are the three areas where Niti Aayog is giving focus, and they are requesting the states, they are giving incentive to states to develop on these three areas, reform in these three areas. If you are reforming in these three areas, then on the basis of your performance in these reforms, you will be ranked, or ranking will give you an incentive to perform, simple in one line. And other benefits like the allocation of fund and other things, maybe this rank is going to give you benefits in that terms, because now government is just simply saying now ki the funds, other things, other grant other than the finance commission. Yeah, and even you have seen that ki even in the finance commission recommendations, one part of grants is the performance based, linked to the performance. So now government is saying that perform and get it. Even the planning assistance given to the states, now they started linking with the performance. The things which is given to you, perform, then only you can get it. Otherwise, they're going to stop it. And that's the reason they are going to create huge problem to states, some of the states. Because if they are not performing, they are not going to get further fund. If you're not getting fund, then how can you run your government? Okay, so it is there. So three areas where Niti Aayog is focusing for this index. One is the agricultural market committees, or agriculture market reforms. So yes, you are knowing now all the things, so I'm not going to discuss on this, but they are saying, I mean, this thing is created, yes, you reform your APMC, other agriculture market. Second, you write land lease reform, not right, understand, you already written this, land lease reforms. Yes dear, see, I will come to the land reforms also, the basic things I will give you. So second part, land lease reforms. What is the land lease reforms, and why Niti Aayog wants कि land lease rules of the concerned state should change, or state government should change it. The reason is that, after independence, to give right to the actual tillers of land, the government of India implemented the land reforms. But land is again the state matter. So government of India requested all states implement the land reforms. But agriculture land is the state subject. So states implemented in their states at their own will. So only two states are known which these states are really performed better in land reforms. One of the state is our state, West Bengal. Okay, and one other state is your Kerala. So West Bengal and Kerala, these are the two states, they really performed well in the land reforms. They performed better in the land reforms. Okay, so under land reforms, one of the provision it was implemented that the land should be given to the actual tillers or actual farmers who are doing the farming activities on this land. So to make it compulsory, the actual farmers should do the farming and they should get the ownership. So anyone who are holding who were holding the more land, if they were not able to cultivate or do the farming activities, then a ceiling was decided. More than this ceiling, the land was given to a particular person. And that are the landless laborers or landless persons that given there. That is known as a surplus of land, distributive. And in lease, it was not allowed. Most of the states, legally they are not allowing the leasing of land. But practice is there. Practice is there in everywhere in the Bengal you go, West Bengal, UP you can go, Bihar you can go, everywhere land lease is going on. Suppose I have land, but I am doing some other business, so I can give this land to any other person. Can you cultivate, and out of the what the produce you're producing, this much of share you have to give it. But this agreement is the verbal only, verbal agreement. It can't be the written one, it can't be the legal one, because legally it is not allowed. Clear? So that is the land lease rules prevailing in the most of the states. Gives even someone legally, and they are able to prove last 5 years I am doing the farming activities on this land, they can claim the ownership, dear. To 3 years there's continue, they can claim the ownership. These are the provision, it is there in the state governments. I mean, these are the provisions under the state governments. So what the central government want, Haq committee, one committee was also is there. They recommended it also. The government wants that this land lease market should be changed. Okay, government should modify the rules, regulation, and allow the leasing as a under the legal provisions. Allow the leasing under the legal provisions. Why? Because because these rules is acting in some different way. Like suppose a person having used land area and they are involved in some other activities, or they want to land, they are not using it. Why? Because maybe the large land they have, or they are doing some other business, persons are not there at the home, reason may be anything, but they are not using this land for cultivation purpose. But they can't give the legally to anyone, because once you give it, you are going to lose the ownership. So what and this area they are just keeping just as it is. So you're not using these resources for production of agriculture produce. So what the central government want, you make it legal one, so that these people can give it on the lease basis, so that agriculture production can be produced, can be increased, or activities can be increased. People will get the associated with the agriculture activities. And second one, when they want to get it back, so they can easily get it back to the ownership when they want. So if you are making the legal provisions, then only. So they want to do these reforms. Third one, you written reforms related to forestry on private land. Yeah, it is one of the very good things. Today, suppose you have the land area. You have a land area. Suppose you want, I don't prefer to go for the farming every day. I mean every season. I don't want. So one of the option I have, and what is the options? I can just plant. I can plant, say, good quality of plants like sagoon. You can just say, like teak. You can say this type of plant I can plant on my land, and I will just wait for 20 years, 25 years. I will wait 20 years. I can go. So in 20 years, or maybe 15 to 20 years, I can sell this plant and I can earn very huge amount. So this is the one of the possibility. But the green tribunals, you are knowing that green tribunals, basically the moment you are going to plant, no one will tell you anything. If you are knowing yourself, then it's fine. If you are not knowing yourself, then it's very difficult. You are just planted, fine. You waited 10 to 15 years or maybe 20 years. But when you are going to cut the tree, then you are getting a notification from the concerned authority. You can't cut the tree. It is illegal. It is not allowed. Because green tribunals then that time will come, and they are not going to allow the cutting the tree. The whole land area, you are losing that time. So fearing in that, so many farmers, they want to plant this type of trees because they are not going for the seasonal croppings, but they are not going for that because prevailing rules and regulation is not allowing the forestry on the private land. Okay, so that Niti Aayog wants that the state government should change, allow the private forestry. So when it is come up, they will cut it, they will use it, again they will replant the plant. So basically, you can use this land area in this way. The provision is there. So if states are reforming in these areas, so on the basis of reform, yes, they can be ranked, okay, under this index. Clear? Right, yeah? Right. I mean, just right, the index is named as, right, the index is named as right, inverted comma, agricultural marketing and farmer friendly reforms index, same, farmers friendly reforms index, inverted comma closed, and continue, and it has a score, and it has a score. So on the basis of that, they are scoring you. It has a score which can have, minimum value of 0, minimum value of 0, implying 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 no reforms, implying no reforms, okay, and maximum value 100, maximum value 100. So one is 0, no reforms, other is 100, means complete reforms. 100 implying complete reforms, implying complete reforms, complete reforms in the selected areas, in the selected areas. And what are the selected areas? That already I discussed with you. Selected areas, full stop, right. States and UTs, continue, states and UTs have been ranked in, have been ranked in, have been ranked in terms of the, in terms of the score of the index, in terms of the score of the index, okay. So if you're going in the rank, so when it was published in the that year, the your Maharashtra was 1, Gujarat was 2nd, and Rajasthan was 3rd on this one. Clear, dear? Now just check till this point. Is it clear? Or any questions, any doubts? If you want to ask, then you can ask. Now it's over. Then let's move to the next topic. Food processing industries. Food processing industries. API, food processing industry, you take this example. Please, I request you make this flow chart. Consumers. Yes, make this flow chart and then try to get it. Just the first, I written the first food processing industries. Then in central point, I've written the FPI, food processing industry. And left side, I written it input suppliers, then agriculture and allied sectors, then warehousing. Then we are coming to the API. Then API onwards, it is a warehousing again, wholesalers, then retailers, then consumers. Clear? You can see that one arrow comes from the input supplier to the API. One arrow is coming in this side, which is known as the upstream requirements. Upstream requirements. And one arrow after API is goes towards the consumers, to consumers, that is known as the downstream requirements. And API, you can see the left one arrow is going towards input suppliers. Below of this, then it is known as the backward linkages, and one after API is going towards consumer. Okay, it is forward linkages. Okay, forward linkages, backward linkages and forward linkages. Clear? Our input supplier to consumers, one arrow we connected, it is known as the supply chain. Clear? Supply chain. So just you think what we are trying to say simply, if we really want to develop food processing industry, first of all, then what is food processing industry? So you are knowing generally food processing industry concept. If you are going to department, departmental stores, then in departmental stores you can see that so many agriculture and allied products are processed and it's available in the departmental store, and basically they keep it in the special environment which is known as a deep freezer you can take. So if you just go and check the deep freezer, you can get so many the non-veg items and other veg items which is they're semi-cooked or processed and they're available. Just see two things of this. These products are processed, and after processing, now product price has increased manifold. Yes, mean you are added something, you change the physical form also. Even you processed only without changing physical form, even it's only processed, price has increased. And one more thing is happening, after processing, the life of the particular product is going to increase. Yes, it's going to increase. Why it's going to increase? Because after processing, the rate of degradation is going to decrease. And processing methodology are the different. For different product, it's a different. Okay. Take the example of in the Bengal, we generally purchasing the fish, but local production is not able to meet our demand. So a significant portion of the demand you are meeting with bringing it from the southern states. Just you think about it's this item is fish is your perishable in nature, but you are bringing from south states in Bengal. Just you imagine that how distance it is. So same day you can't bring it. So you are fishing there, then after that you are processing it. You are putting there is a scientific criteria, scientific methodology. You have to go through this. But maybe someone is not following for the profit maximization, just a different issue. But yes, you are processing. After processing, even after 6-7 days, you are getting from there to the wholesalers. 4 days, 5 days, 3 days, or at least 2-3 days is the minimum. They are bringing in the given temperature after processing. So when they're bringing it, now still it looks it's a fresh one. And now you are. So what's happened? And price is higher because if suppose they're producing more, if they're selling only their local areas, price is very low. And some part its price is higher, some part is price low. Okay, because they can't bring it other part. So after processing, it's a good thing. You are able to increase the longevity of the product, number one. Second, you are getting the higher price for your product. So in India, food processing industries, we are focusing on that for development. And for that, Pradhan Mantri Sampada Yojana already central government has implemented. Under that, so many schemes they implemented. Like the one of them is the Mega Food Park. So they are developing Mega Food Park where the farmers they can bring their produce and they can just process it and then they can supply in the market. So when you want to say these two issues, one food processing industries, it means suppose you take input suppliers. So input supply, you are starting from input supplier. They are basic supplying inputs to the agriculture and allied activities. So we have to integrate from this point. Input supply from input supplier, they are supplying inputs to the agriculture and allied activities. And after production, they are basically bringing first in the warehousing through different transportation system, and that transportation system must be faster and modern one. You're keeping in warehousing, from warehousing you're bringing in the food processing unit. Okay. So till bringing here, till food processing industries, you need to develop the infrastructure. Yes, you need to develop the infrastructure. You have to need to develop the whole system. Like you have to develop the input suppliers infrastructure. You have to bring better quality of seeds, quality checking machines you have to bring. After productions in agriculture light sectors, you have to again bring it at the API, but directly you are not bringing it. So you need the transportation facilities proper and the better transportation facilities. That is the cold storage van, cold vans, okay, refrigerated van you can say, cold storage facilities you need it, faster movement of goods you need it. So you can bring in the warehousing. After bringing warehousing this should be the modern one, not like the outdated for food processing industries, because most of the nature of the product are the perishable in the nature. So you have to bring it there. And when you're bringing API till here, you need infrastructure. So what you need infrastructure, the whole infrastructure requirement is known as the upstream requirement. Here maybe one of the more requirement is that you have to make it available, the good quality of inputs, the access to the farmers to that inputs. So this whole market structure you have to develop. So these all are known as the upstream requirements. Upstream and downstreams, basically you are getting these words from the river concept, and already I think you completed this part. Okay, suppose you're standing here, if river is coming from this side, so this part of you is known as the upstream because it's coming from here. And if it's going after this point, so this from your side, this point is known as the downstream. So whatever things you need for development of food processing industries, this whole thing is known as upstream requirements. Clear? After API, from here till here, consumers, okay, all requirements are known as the downstream requirements, including API. Till API and downstream, you're including API, so you extend it like this. Yeah, API and onwards. What is the infrastructure? What are the things you need? Okay, it's all are the downstream requirement. Upstream requirement also you need the advanced technology, machineries to extract the inputs, produce the output. Okay, but similarly in food processing industries, yes, you need the infrastructure requirement like the modern technique of processing, modern machineries of processing. Okay, you can store in the API itself, so you need a controlled environment in this whole industries. Second, after processing, you have to keep in the warehousing. So you need a particular control form of warehousing where you can keep it so that the quality of the product is not going to degrade. Again, you need the faster movement of modern transportation system. that can bring the product from API to warehousing, warehousing to wholesalers, and wholesalers to retailers, and retailers to consumers. Yes. So even the wholesalers should have the modern infrastructure where they can keep store it, then further they can send it to the retailers. Again, the transportation system will be accordingly. And when you are coming to the retailers, then retailers also need a, a maintained, a well furnished, or we can say well equipped store system, where they can keep it their produce at the control in temperature, okay, and in the proper infrastructure they need it. So developed store and the modern stores, you need it where you can keep this product, and from here the consumers can buy this. So including API, starting from API till the requirement of the consumers, what are the infrastructures, things you need for development of this? They all are known as downstream requirements. Downstream requirements, okay. So from input supplier requirements till your consumers point, all requirements including your upstream requirement and downstream requirement, I mean including these two, the whole things is known as the supply chain. Supply chain. So supply chain is the backbone of food processing industries. If really we want to develop the food processing industries, then we have to develop the backbone of the food processing industries. If we are able to develop this supply chain system, then only we can develop the food processing industries, because faster movement, storage facilities, and proper and better communications from input supplier to farmers, farmers to API, API to wholesalers, wholesalers to retailers, retailers to consumer, the all connectivity you have to develop. Okay, and on the pattern of, in the line of the modern infrastructure and the technology, then only we are going to develop the food processing industries. Clear, dear? Now, if food processing industries are developing, see, remember one thing. For any industry, really that industry is good or not, for any economy, you have to see the impact of that industries in two different ways. First, if industry is developing, then industry must have backward impact and must have forward impact. Backward impact means the industry is getting some inputs, factors from the previous stage. Okay, suppose you take the example of food processing industry. If food processing is developing, it means farmers are able to process their articles, different agriculture commodities they can produce, they can process. After processing, they can sell in the mandis, in the different markets, different part of the countries. If they are doing so, then they are only able to get higher prices. So higher prices means higher income they are getting this, and this higher income again going to invest, they are going to invest on the farmland, other activities. So investment is going up, increase in investment, again income will increase, productivity will increase, and the increased investment and the productivity again is going to create the employment opportunities in the rural areas. And income keeps increasing, employment opportunities creating is going to increase the consumptions, investment, then aggregate demand, again production, again employment. So these all areas going to be and getting the benefits. So this impact, the positive impact, what you can see of these food processing industries, that is the back of this point, is known as the backward linkage. Forward linkage means what? Suppose you developed your food processing industries, but after developing this, you able to develop the warehousing, you have to develop the wholesalers, you develop the retailers, fast communications, okay, modern transportation system, modern warehousing, this you develop. So yes, investment is going on, production is going on, employment is going on. Okay, so these are going to develop. So it is known as the forward linkage. So any industry is really good if that industry has backward linkage plus forward linkage. And as far as FPI is concerned, food processing industries are concerned, yes, they have backward linkage as well as the forward linkage. So in the both the perspective, okay, we can say yes, we have to develop the food processing industry. Then yes, it is going to increase the farmers' income. Okay, so the increase in farmers' income is going to, going to achieve the, then only you can achieve the doubling the farmers' income and they can sustain in the agriculture sector. Second, food after processing, you are able to distribute in the different part of the country. So there is a uniformity in the distribution of food grains and food, not food grains exactly, you can say food articles or agriculture produce. Okay, you can include that among the countries. So that is going to control the prices in the country. So we need to develop this food processing industry. Clear, dear? So we are meeting after the break. Okay. Thank you, everyone.